Okay, I'm just going to give some tips on how to put Boyde-proof books together, basically. As anybody who knows Boyde, they know he loves his books, and for them to last, they've got to be made Boyde-proof. So there's a few features about how to put his books together that will help. I've just got this book here as an example of an old book, which is obviously well loved, but as you can see, it's got a, one of these spiral things on it, and over time it's broken. Boyde does bite his books as well, so these plastic things are a bit dangerous, really. So, and not to mention, he can pull the pages off them if he pulls hard enough like that, and he can be quite rough with his books. So I don't recommend this as a way of doing it, even though binding it seems to make it look nice and is a good idea. And even other types of binders, they're just not strong enough for Boyde, because he will yank his books really hard sometimes, especially if somebody else grabs his books, of which he's very possessive. He'll yank them really hard to get them back. So that's just a what not to do kind of thing. So obviously Boyde loves books with photos of himself in it, so I just make them on a PowerPoint presentation and get them printed off at Officeworks. Also, for them to last longer, I cut about 1 centimetre off them lengthways and 1 centimetre off that ways. That gives you a wider border when you then go to laminate the page, which means they stay stuck together stronger, because otherwise these, when they're really thin and Boyde bites on them and slobbers over them and bends them and twists them, the laminate just separates too easily. I can't do it now, but that's whatever. There we go, it's separating there when there's not much of a border around this edge. But with the extra bits cut off, I don't know if you can see that or not, can't really. With your bit cut off your page, it just gives a wider border for the laminate. Okay, so that's the first hint. Now the next one is tying them together. I find tying them with some string is the best option. I use just string from the $2 shop because it's plasticky, and so it copes with being wet with his saliva as opposed to the normal string, which doesn't last as long and isn't as strong. So I just get a hole punch, and I won't do that many pages at once because it won't work. So I'll do about half of it at once, and I've got to stand up to do this. Yeah, so I just line it up basically with the edge of the hole punch, put it in as far as I can, and punch. Obviously, punching holes is fairly basic. And if I line them both up, I give it 2 punches like that, and I'll show you how I tie them together. Actually, the other thing that I need to point out, which I almost forgot, was that these days I've started to put the paper inside the laminate so that the edge that's connected by the string has a wider border on it and doesn't have paper in where you punch the holes, which you can only just see the edge of the paper. And you'll understand maybe once I've got the string on why that's important, because when Boyde just loves to turn the pages of his books, and they're really hard to bend. I've got a pre-made one here, which I've just done a new one of this one, which is one of his old favourites, and the other one's wrecked. I've already tied the string on this one, and when he turns the pages, he just likes to flick pages. He doesn't always look at the pictures, especially when he's had the book for a while. And to turn them, like in a new book, if you have the paper inside the laminate too close to this edge, then it's really hard to fold it over so that it will stay. So if the hole punches are more punched in this border of just laminate, not the paper as well, it's easier to fold them over and for Boyde to keep the pages open. Anyway, so I've punched holes in half of the book. Now I'll punch holes in the other half of the book. Hopefully they'll all line it up if I've lined it up right. There we go. And yes, that's in the right order. So that's a new book ready just to tie it together. Now I'm going to tie the book together. So I guess it doesn't matter too much how it's tied together, but I've worked this little system out over the years, which seems to work really well. So I've hole punched here and I've hole punched here. So to get the amount of string that I need, I just basically go 1, 2, 3, plus a bit extra to help tie the knot. Okay, and then to thread it, you just thread it like you do through a hole, like you thread anything through a hole. But the order that you thread it in makes it really clever. So I just thread it frontwards through the 2 middle holes so that it comes out the back. Then on the back, I take the top one and thread it up through the holes, as long as they're lined up. That comes up, and then the bottom one up through the bottom hole. Okay, then I thread them back through this middle of the 2 holes. It's easier for you to see it than for me to describe it, really. Okay, so the front of the book then looks like that. So then I turn it over, and then I just basically tie a knot. So I pull it as tight as I can without crinkling the book up, of course. So I just tie one of those simple knots, another simple knot, pull it really tight, and I just do one more for the road. So 3 knots, one on top of the other. And then I chop these off short, and that makes it pretty Boyde proof, and it's really strong. So now comes, you know, tied together, it's hard for the pages to stay open, so Boyde doesn't like it like that. So just to help, so now that I talked about having that wider border here, makes this next part easier to do. So I turn the pages over, and yeah, there's a bit of a fold here between this part and this part. I can't describe it very well, but when you do it, it's actually the edge of the page here, and it just folds over quite easily and will stay down. So I just do that with each page, and I just fold them down. If you've got the paper, like I always used to, still going further into where that fold is, it's really hard to fold and get it to stay open. But this way, it's so much easier to fold. And that's it, really. That's how I make his books and put them together. And they seem to be really strong and last really well. Some books, obviously, he loves more than others. It's never that predictable, but as long as they've all got lots of pictures of him in them, and his family, pretty much, whom he loves. Just folding this one, then the last page. It kind of flips backwards a bit when you get to the last page, so it doesn't matter. Whatever works. You can do that however you like, really. Doesn't matter. The main thing is tying it together so that it is really strong. So now we have a Boyde-proof book that he can dribble over, he can bite, and he can flip the pages as he does, like this. And that's it. Ta-da!